Hello everyone. Welcome to this another project walkthrough. This is my second YouTube video. The first one was also a project walkthrough where I discussed some things about a project where I created an API, seeded to MongoDB, created a server, then deploy it to render. Link for the project walkthrough is in the description, by the way. The reason why I am doing walkthrough videos is that it can give some storytelling about my projects. Instead of having potential clients or recruiters review my projects themselves through live demo and source code buttons provided in each of my projects, a video walkthrough will allow them to just watch and listen how the project is demoed. To begin, the project that I will demo is an actual project where I have a client. This is from a friend on Facebook. She has a friend who is an artist who produces some very hard-boiled acrylic and lacquer-based paintings. Her friend needs a website so that potential clients or buyers can look at the paintings there and inquire about it or about them. They're both from Vietnam, so the website will have English to Vietnam language switching. I will explain my approach for that functionality later on. So I was given a document and some images needed for content. To start, I use bolt.new again as a boilerplate to build up faster. Let me show you what was the initial build from Bolt. As you can see here, I have my prompt. It's longer since there are details that were added. We have here app.jsx that uses React Router DOM for routing. Some pages like about.jsx, contact.jsx, gallery.jsx, and so forth. And this is how it looks like at the right side, which is very clean and can be considered finished. But in the actual development, I changed the structure, design, and layout, then made some refactoring. We can see the home page. It looks good. Hero section looks awesome. About the artist section, which used data from the prompt. Some placeholder images. This here looks like a value proposition. Then some other sections also. Let's view the About the Artist page. It looks clean. We have an overview, then some sort of timeline that were arranged by year. I didn't instruct this in my prompt, but Bolt AI took the initiative to do it like this, which is awesome. We have some other sections here that looks good. Now the gallery page. We have here some sort of category filtering by all, lacquer, and oil painting, which looks cool since we can show the images based on the active category. Then we have the contact page, just a common design of a contact form, some input fields for inquiring something to the website's owner. Bolt AI created this inquiry type, which has some options. Cool! So I did not instruct this on the prompt, but Bolt AI did this, which is great. Then below, some location details like address, email address, and etc. Now let me show you the changes that I did. I'm opening the working folder. In this stage, I put the code for the front end at the client folder. Then I also created a server folder for handling form submissions at the contact page, which I will explain later. I will do npm run dev this here, I used concurrently to run both the client and server in one command. This local folder here is the front end or the client. I'll copy this and open this on a browser. As you can see, the design and layout may have changed a bit, as well as the colors. Since after a few days my friend updated the document, then she sent me the actual images of the paintings as well as some details of each painting, like title, description, category, and etc. At the home page, we now have the logo. Then hero section now has a background image selected by her artist friend to be the background. Some sections below, a summarized story about the artist, then a button that will show more detail about him, which is actually the about the artist page. Some selected works from the gallery, then a CTA or call to action section which directs us to the contact page, then a simplified footer. Let's go to the about the artist page. I like the vibe here. We got a background image in one of the artist's painting, then a biography, then this image at the right is an awesome painting. I like the colors here. Then the lower sections, lacquer and oil painting descriptions. Some awesome paintings here are shown, one for lacquer and the oil painting. Then we have recognition and exhibitions done by the artist, a timeline that shows notable achievements and other things by year. Then some buttons here. Let's click the enter the gallery button to see the gallery page. Now we have the page and it displays the paintings of the artist. I can say that all of his paintings are about nature, culture, and people around his country, Vietnam. These kinds of paintings will surely look good inside your house. Her friend is super talented. Then below we have some paintings that were sold out. When we click a painting, we can see a pop-up that shows more info about the painting. Going back at the top, we have some filters. We can show all works, or only lacquer paintings or oil paintings. Then, using use search params, we persist what we selected in the URL. Now we have the contact page. The layout is now simplified. This is where we can submit an inquiry to the artist about his painting, like for example, how much is a painting, or do you deliver outside Vietnam? Yeah, things like that. When someone does, the inquiry will be received at the artist's email. Let me show you how I set it up in my server folder. I only have a few files here. In fact, I did not separate things for routes, models, and controllers. I just put them in one file, the index.js. As you can see, we have Express for handling HTTP requests, an Node.js framework for building servers and APIs. We have Mongoose, a MongoDB, and Node.js library for managing data, schema, and model validation for MongoDB. We have course or cross-origin resource sharing to prevent course error, since our client or front-end code will try to access a resource on a different origin than the one serving your web app. So what I understand about this is, we look at the terminal. If we look at the terminal, by the way, This one, host 5173, is for the front end or client. This is the resource, and it's different from this one here where our server runs at 4275. So we got the client or server in our browser at HTTP 5173. So let's also check for the server at localhost 4275. I think I have a route here for testing this one /health. So we can say HTTP localhost 4275/health. Let's wait for a bit. So we got a response and our server is good. That's the purpose, of course. Since our client and server have different ports, CORS will allow the request from the client to the server. After importing CORS, we do this app that use CORS. Open and close parentheses. So we also have Brevo here, which is very crucial so that the form submission from the contact page will work. To use Brevo, you need to create a Brevo account first. Then you can get the API. Now, let me open the Brevo account for this project. This is the dashboard that you're gonna see after you complete your registration. I believe Brevo has around 300 free emails sending per month. That's why it was recommended by DeepSeek when I was searching for free sending email platforms. To get your Brevo API key, at the top right corner, click your name, then click Settings, then at the left side, click SMTP and API, then click API keys and MCP. When you first registered, you need to click Generate API Key button to create your API key. If you have it, you can put it in your .env file. In my code, I set it up as Brevo _API_ key. I won't show you the .env file, but I have here a sample .env file. So yeah, this is where I put the API key after copying it. You also need a sender_email, which is the account you use to get the API_key. In my case, it's this one Gmail account that I created for testing. Maria Morales Mighty at Gmail. Then a sender_name of your own choice. You also need a receiver_email of your choice that will receive the email. So in this case, the email of my client. But for testing, I use my other account, which is this one, Jason Morales Mighty. These things here in sample.env are the things I have at the .env file where we get the values from. Going back to index.js, to allow us to use .env file, we need .env. Next, we got this get contact email template, which was generated by DeepSeek AI. This serves as the email template that will show up at the artist's inbox when someone sends a message. How about we try it now, since we have those things like sender email and receiver email. Let's go to the development site. Let's put a name, then an email address, then select nature of inquiry. Then for the message, let's say test123. Then click send message. Nice, we didn't get any error. Now let's check the MongoDB for this project. So we have here Tranart database. Now contacts collection. Indeed, we got the data here. Now let's see at the testing email, the receiver email from earlier, the Jason Morales. Nice, we also receive it. As you can see here, this is the email template. This is what the email template from DeepSeek generated. To validate a second time, let's do another. Awesome, everything is working. I also used cron jobs to prevent Express from sleeping. This is my cron.js. This was generated by Gemini, I think. It says here that for every 14 minutes, this code block will trigger a request to the endpoint at API underscore URL, which is the environment variable in my .env file. Earlier, we tried to access localhost something with /health, and we get a status OK response as what we set up in index.js. This block of code here and then in here, by initializing job.start method, we run the cron.js. Let me also show you my approach in building the English to Vietnamese translation. Looking at the site, this one here at the nav bar, by default the English is the default language. If you click this Viet button, all text content will be translated to Vietnamese. Using use search params also made the language switching persist at the URL. Let's go back to VS Code. In this data folder, I created a data.json and a gallery.json based from the documents and images sent to me. To implement language switching, DeepSeek recommended to have all text content in a .json file and create a React context. In this case, I used Copilot to create a language context.jsx to handle language switching from English to Vietnamese, and it did create it. As you see, this code here was created by Copilot entirely. This will be initiated when a certain button is clicked. I think it is located in the root layout.jsx. Use effect, then this is used for Windows scrolling. It's in the navbar component, the navbar.jsx. We have static nav links, then some classes for styling, maybe below the return, of course. We have the header, the logo, then the code block to render the static nav links above. So it's here, this button. When clicked, toggle language method will execute. So toggle language method is a method from use language, which is the language context.jsx, which is part of it. So let's view the code. So it's here. It is switching from English to Vietnamese. If the value of the previous is English, then we switch it to Vietnamese and vice versa, so that the value becomes the value of the language variable, which is a use state. And as we know, when we change the value of a variable which is used as a state variable, we are re-rendering our app. We also have the value of get initial language. From the looks of it, there are conditions. Then we also get the language from local storage. If that's the case, therefore, when the website is loaded, we save the English as an initial language because of this code block here. The value of save variable will depend on the language key from local storage. If language key has a value, it is stored as the value of saved variable. If there is no key and value from local storage, the saved variable is returned with the value of English. Those mentioned are for switching language and saving and getting it from local storage. When the page loads from the very start, or maybe the button to switch language is clicked, the provider component, which is the language context.jsx, will also run. So language useState will have a value from getInitialLanguage method. Then this line of code will also run where data is from data.json and the language, which are passed to getContent method. This code here is really complex, to be honest. I will not touch this one since Copilot made this and it works well. What I understand though is it will use the data variable from data.json. For example, we have here the nav key. Then with the home key, we got key value pairs of lang and value, as we can see in data.json. Then, as we can see in navbar.jsx, we have this block of code. We are accessing things like data.nav.home, data.nav.about, which corresponds to nav in data.json. If, for example, the language is Vietnamese, we will be getting lang that is Vietnamese, then its value. Let's look for another. How about this contacts key in data.json, which has heading, heading 1, heading 2, and so forth. Then let's look at the contact.jsx. We can see that we have access to data in this block of code here. So The same concept, whatever language is selected, the code will look for the lang key with the value of that language. So for this code, for example, we will be targeting contact, then email template, then header 1. If lang is English, value will be system notification. If lang is Vietnamese, then value is Thong Bao Hi Thong. Let's see at the website. Let's go to the contact page. Then let's send some test messages by selecting languages. So while the language is in Vietnamese, let's click Viet. As you can see, the text already changed from this page, and this is applicable to all pages, since in every re-render, the correct data from data.json will be used depending on the language variable. Let's refresh the page. As you can see, the message was sent. But since I typed an English word, what was received in the email is also English word. In the future, translation might also be done in the text area. However, it might not be necessary since the message will depend on the user. If the user is from Vietnam, of course, their keyboard will have Vietnamese too. So this concludes the walkthrough for this project. Maybe sometime in the future I will create a video walkthrough on how to create a contact form that will send email to a person using React, Tailwind CSS, MongoDB, Express, and Brevo. Thank you very much, guys. See you around. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this content useful.